What is that?
It's my bone.
God damn it, Cartman!
How would you like to suck my balls?
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was... How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison?
Holy shit, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Suck My Balls for the third time. We're going to try recording this episode. I'm your host with the most, who lives on the south, northwest, in-your-face coast. Yeah, boy. Big boy. MSG. Follow me on that twatter. On that grammar. Matthew_Schaffer. You can follow us at Suck My Balls Pod, where Ian likes to put controversial topics and conversations, and he does tweet out funny things though. He tweeted out EC3, that popped me. Hey, you want to come on our South Park pod then? That was pretty funny. I was like, that was good. Right? That was pretty good.
I was like, but yo, you want to be on our South Park pod?
It had nothing to do with wrestling. I was like, that's good. I liked it. That's smart. Right? That's good. It was a product placement. Suck my balls.
Watch, like, we get a message later from him saying, what do you mean South Park? Like, everything South Park? Like, bro, all we do is South Park. And all of a sudden, boom, baby.
Hey, that's how you build those connections, whether it's with him or with other people. So, like, kudos for you to doing that, Ian. As long as, you know, it doesn't get controversial or some girl goes, you know, that's why I like animals better than people. You're the reason for that. Oh man, that made me laugh. Okay, so we're back, guys, for another edition of South Park. This is episode number 5, and that episode, well, it's about a conjoined fetus, dyslexia lady. And before we get into it, though, we want to, of course, give a shout out to our platform sponsors: ratsaladreview.com, hackerhameen.podbean.com. Of course, you can find us Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Overcast, Republic Cast, Your Mom's Cast, People Cast, Serious Cast, In Your Cast, What's a Cast? I don't know. We're probably there on some different websites. I keep looking them up. Like with the syndication stuff, sometimes you just end up on like these weird European sites, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, all right. Like so, like I said, different websites. You know what I mean? That we use. So, but we're there. So thanks for checking us out. Share us. Let your friends, let your brother, let your sister who are all over the age of 18 know. Let your mom, let your dad, grandpa who has a good sense of humor. Let your crazy uncle Charlie who likes to pet goats. Tell him to check out South Park. Suck My Balls, the South Park review. Ian, my host. Ski Jackson.
How you
doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Ready to rock and roll today?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
Ready to go, baby.
Ready to go. So first off, I think we should give a shout out to Greg. It was awesome.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. That was fun last week.
I think he has definitely officially become our alternate guest. Like if somebody falls out or we just need to bring somebody on, we could bring on Greg because he was good. He knew his stuff.
Got some ideas for that.
He was chillage on the west side, on the East Coast village.
Yeah.
Village. I'm ready to spill up and get this dillage of South Park. Ready to get rocking, rolling, talking about episode number 5, which debuted in the middle of kind of the summer. One of the early seasons they did this, June 3rd, 1998. So it debuted in the middle of, or the beginning of June. This was about the boys on their travels and their conquest and their search for victory to become the dodgeball champions. And of course, the town of South Park pays tribute to the school nurse, the nurse Gollum, the conjoined twin fetus dyslexia lady. So this episode starts off with Pip. He's kind of tired of being bullied. Now, if you've listened, fuck Pip. Now, if you've listened to any of our first season, you're aware that we don't like Pip.
Yeah, fuck Pip. Yeah, fuck Pip.
Pip is weird. You know, and sometimes he can seem cool, like in this episode, and other times, most times, he's kind of a weirdo. And as I said to Ian before this episode started to prove my point, while yes, it is a children's quote unquote toy, it still would have been considered more protection. Therefore, he could have paid $50 to buy the damn helmet and buy his own protection.
No.
Yes. The argument is settled. $57.99.
How much was the elephant?
No, it doesn't matter how much the elephant was. He was saying, I'll pay $50 for one. He's offering all this money and trying to get Chef to give him a fucking helmet when this motherfucker can buy a helmet.
Well, why are you so concerned about him being able to buy a helmet regardless?
Because I don't like Pip. And I don't like him.
Good. He shouldn't have been able to buy a helmet.
I don't like him throwing around his money like he's some sort of fucking like entrepreneur and shit. But he's fucking from some poor ass little Oliver piss ass little parody. And I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that, Scoop. You disagree? You think that he shouldn't have paid $57.99 for his own helmet?
I think, like I said, they should have did something with the concussion parody to the NFL or something.
Could have gotten one from Jimbo, Ned. They don't have old helmets hanging around they can't use. Come on, man. Think about these things.
Ned, he can use his helmet.
Pip's not smart. Come on. I bet you they could have made him one. Something's got to happen. But he decided to try and flaunt his money like a pimp. Couldn't get what he wanted. And guess what? Now, up in this episode, Pip goes crazy. He's tired of being bullied. So as this episode kind of starts off, it's announced by Chef, we're going to play dodgeball. And they're all like, oh, crap. I got to tell you, right off the gate, this kind of triggered something within me. Because I never liked dodgeball as a kid growing up. Did you like dodgeball?
Yes and no. I couldn't figure out how to throw hard until like 8th grade. And that's when we kind of just stopped playing. Because that's about the time I started playing baseball. And like out throughout middle school, there's always that 1 or 3 kids or whatever that could zing those balls across the gym. And you're just like, dude, what the fuck? And then you pick up the ball and you're like, yeah. And the ball just like, beep. Or someone just like catches it like it was easy. Like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, I never liked dodgeball. Not a big fan. The whole game concept of picking up a ball and hurling it at people. Because people never did it in the concept of a game. Like, it was always in an attempt to, like, hurt each other. And, like, I always felt like the educators, or in this case, physical educators, the PE teachers, took joy in it. Like, they took joy. You're on mute again.
It was probably funny as fuck to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they took joy in, like, watching kids throw balls at each other in anger and in like competitive nature. And like, I always, like, even from a young early age, just looked at it and was like, there's something really wrong with this game. Like, it's one thing to play football and you throw the ball and you catch it and you score. It's another thing to pass it and shoot it into a hoop. But willingly just picking up a ball and chucking it at each other, like, I was like, this doesn't seem like a fun game. So it was not something I ever really tried to get in board with. Fortunately, I never took like a PE class where it was like mandated, where everyone was like, okay, line up, we're going to play dodgeball. Like, I never
dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I never had to go through that. So that's my little backstory on dodgeball. I also at a young age did play Buns Up. Did you ever play that game? Where you throw the ball like a handball, a little tennis ball, up against the side of a wall. And then ball? Kind of, but we called it Buns Up, and it was kind of like you spelled out a word. And what you would have to do is you would throw the ball up against the handball court. It would bounce. Once it bounces off the ground, you then have to catch it. And if you did not catch it, then you would get a letter. Or if you did, the other option is if you ran to the wall before the other person could throw the ball at the wall, you would not get a letter. So you could avoid getting a letter so if the ball comes, you don't catch it, you go, oh, fuck, you run to the wall, you tag it, and you touch the wall before the other person has an opportunity to throw it, you don't get a letter. But if you don't get there in time, you get the letter, First one to spell buns up loses. You never played this game?
Sounds like wall ball with extra steps.
I guess. I don't know. This was Mexican,
Wall ball
California.
is basically the same thing, just minus you getting a letter, and
Oh, okay.
you got beamed by the ball.
Yeah, it was like that, but we didn't want to bean each other. So like
Yeah.
you would throw it against
Pussies.
the fuck. Well, hold on. That was the first game. That was wall ball. Oh, that was whatever you want to call it, your version, but without the hurting. It was just called buns up. Then we had probably what you would call the same thing. It's called suicide. That one, you didn't spell it out. You just got beamed with the ball until you tagged the wall. So that was probably more reminiscent of what you were speaking to. But anyway, we played that game. So short of me playing that style of like, dodgeball or throwing a ball, I never actually tried to hurt people. But Pip got fed up, man, because Kyle was, coming at him and they were making fun of him. And basically
Kyle was railing him, bro.
Basically, what
Jesus.
ends up setting him up over the top, though, was that they called him Frenchie.
Here, Pip, you throw. Oh no, I couldn't. Come on, Limey, don't be a wuss. Are you just gonna be a little French pansy your whole life? I'm not French. Throw the ball, you stupid frog. God damn, maybe if you didn't eat all those croissants, you'd be able to down.
Okay, that was pretty good, Pip. But you're supposed to hit the kids on the other team.
Ow, my nose! You broke my nose! Damn, Pip, I didn't know you had it in you.
And he was like, I am not French.
He hates the French. Like, everybody hates the French.
So he gets pissed off and he ends up throwing the dodgeball at Kyle and breaks his nose. Kyle ends up going to the nurse's office, and everyone's, before he goes there, they're all like, Shan, has anybody ever gone to the nurse's office and come back to tell it? No, Cartman.
Oh, shit.
What was your thoughts as far as the nurse here, as far as what did you think of Conjoined Fetus Lady?
At first, I was like, all right, let me see what this is all about. Because there's been Siamese twins and stuff. And there was a whole controversial thing around these one girl who was dying. And if she didn't get separated, the other girl would die too.
Fuck.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I don't know. Just like I don't look at people differently. You know what I'm saying? Like I treat all the people the same. Whereas like as far as like, like any type of formality or retardation, like to me, people are people. And I think at some point along the line, a lot of like a majority out there just want to be treated like another person. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, definitely in this episode, they kind of hit on that underlying message for sure, 100, because Kyle goes into the nurse's office afraid. He's got his eyes closed as this is going on. She eventually, he opened his eyes and he only sees part of her face. And at first he's like, oh, okay, she's just a normal lady, which realistically, that's what she is. She's just a normal lady. However, when she turns her face, she exposes Scoop. This is fucked up, but to laugh at, but she has got a dead fetus.
I just hit my nose playing dodgeball.
Oh, well, I'll get you an ice pack. What? Oh, I see you've noticed my disorder. I have a stillborn fetus growth attached to my head.
Attached to the side of her head. Just hanging there, jiggling. And jiggly wiggly. And it freaks the fuck out of Kyle. Like he's tripping, right? He's tripping balls. I remember when I first saw this episode as a young teenager being like, holy crap, like what is that? Like, because I had never even like considered or thought of the idea that people could be born with these different types of abnormalities based on a medical analysis or based on medical transgressions that happen either in or outside of the womb. So like when you first see it as a young person, that kind of sets you on that weird, dark, I don't know, horror style of reading. Like you want to search out different ideas and how different people look, whether it be the Elephant Man or people being born with different skin abnormalities, different eye colors. People, some people have different colors, eye versions, and stuff like that. You can get a scholarship for that. There was this chick I knew.
Because you have different colored eyes, you can get a special scholarship?
Yeah, so there was this chick I knew in high school. One of her eyes was like green and the other eye was gray. And it was natural. And because of that, she got some form of federal grant or scholarship because of it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she was a robot, bro. Maybe that's why she wasn't really into me, because I was like, fight the system. So I knew her plan. So I was on her, bro. I was on her. Anyway.
You were on.
So after Kyle gets freaked out, they're reacting in disgust, basically in the living room. Like they're going over the story, kind of like how little kids or even like girls, I would say, is they're parodying women, like, oh my god, they did this, ew.
And when she moved up and down, the little fetus jiggled. Ew.
Did it talk? The little fetus, did it talk?
No, it looked dead.
Ew.
Was it wearing clothes? Dude, where is she gonna get fetus clothes? Oh, yeah. Ew.
Ew.
So they were like, first she had this fetus stuck to the side of her head. Ew, gross. And when she pooped, it jiggled. Ew, gross. Oh man. Okay, so they're going through that, parodying that style of like gossip. And Sheila overhears it. Kyle's mom, who's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world.
No, see, I don't think I'm the only one like this. This is where you start to really like love and hate her, because in this episode she's super annoying, but it's also at the same time it's really funny.
I mean, yes and no. I get what you're saying. Like, I think she takes unnecessary steps to try and utilize her quote unquote white privilege to stand up for the underprivileged, but she does it in ways with people who don't want it or need it. You get what I'm saying? Like, she does it. She's doing it for the right reasons, but not for the right people. Like, because if there was enough of them that needed it, then that's one thing. But the way she does it is for her own personal reasons, for her own personal fulfillment, because she believes it's going to betterment herself and or her family. And in this case, she decides to pull the boys aside, and she's going to read a book, and it's about freaks. I think like they're all showing him like different pictures of Siamese twins. The kids are still like, ew, disgusting. So she kind of tells them that, sometimes that everyone's born with a conjoined fetus, as we all come from the same sperm cells, essentially, right? And you could have a dead conjoined fetus inside you, too. And this freaks the fuck out of Cartman and Stan. They run out the door. And then, like, Sheila's all like, I'm glad we can have this conversation with you, Poopy. And then she walks away or whatever. And then, like, Kenny's, like, sitting there on the couch, and he just starts laughing. He's like, oh, man.
More ways that they have Kenny breaking and just, he knows everything. It's awesome.
Right, because Kenny thought it was ridiculously hilarious that the boys got freaked out. So now they're at home, and you see Sheila. She's in the kitchen talking to Gerald, who's just reading the paper, basically ignoring her, mind his own business.
I love this part.
Yes, dear. And she's like, I just think that people need to be more aware of that poor woman. And then all of a sudden the phone rings. Sharon's on the other line, and in the background, you see Stan running around with an ice pick, and Randy, chasing after him. You can hear Stan, and then, like, you can see like Randy and Stan like tussling for the ice pick. And Sharon's like, Sheila, did you have a conversation with my son today?
Sheila, I was just wondering if you might know why my son is trying to split his head open with an ice pick?
No, I have to get it out.
Well, Sharon, I was just trying to educate them about conjoined twin dyslexia. So this is your fault.
Oh,
Would you do me a favor? Next time you want to scare the hell out of my child, just go outside and sit in the road till a truck runs you over instead.
Get him. Maybe you can extend. That is so awesome.
Moving on.
Whoa.
Moving on, as Ian forgot his train of thought there. As I mentioned, Sharon tells Sheila, or Sheila tells Sharon. No, Sharon tells Sheila to go stand out in the middle of the road.
Oh, right. She just like the way that Sharon or Sheila completely ignores Sharon, right? And just is like, oh, well, everybody needs to have, she needs to inform everybody. But it's like, Sharon just told you to go kill yourself.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, you feel like that there's kind of like an absence of critical listening.
Right.
And thinking, like she's not listening to what people were having to say. It's going in one ear and out the other.
Exactly.
And she's just only picking, or selective hearing should probably be more appropriate. She's only listening to people who are agreeing with her, or the positive things on what she has to say, and people who are negative to her or saying things that, you know, would put her down or keep her away from accomplishing her said goal. She just doesn't hear it. She pretends that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
That's basically the whole point of Sheila, her character. That's why Cartman says she's a big fat bitch. She's a big fat bitch. Cartman knows a bullshitter when he is a bullshitter, right? He can see through it. Conjoined twin dyslexia, Scoop. By the way, dyslexia is not a real word, guys. I looked it up. There is a word that is spelled MS-lexia. However, that has nothing to do with, I believe, any like medical things. It has to do with like women's fashion or something like that. I don't know.
Good gravy.
Or something like that. It has something to do with female and something like that. It has nothing to do with the, fetus hanging off the side of your head. However, while this is going on at in the town now, because Sharon's taking it upon herself, we gotta go to the mayor, and we gotta bring it up, and we gotta tell her. We've got to start a committee to do a Join My Dyslexia week. So while she's doing that, the boys show back up at school again to play. Now they're playing dodgeball again. Cartman's like, "What are we doing playing dodgeball? You said we only play dodgeball on Friday." And he's like, "Children, we got invited to go play in the state championship against Denver."
Yeah, man.
And even I think Stan questions, don't we normally have to like win a game or something like to like go to the state championship? And Chef says, don't worry about it. They decide that they're going to go to Denver and they're going to play for the state championship. Scoop, did you ever play any sports that led you to any state events or committed or competed in anything from the school standpoint?
In school? In state?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year I rode the pine on the football team. We won state. We went 16-0. We were national champs.
Did you get a little ring?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, son of a bitch. I had to clean things from anybody.
That's pretty cool. I went to state for speech and debate at Rhymes. And I got like 7th. So did it on my own, by myself, no one else. Not helped. You had other guys. It was me. I was there. I did it.
Almost got a couple rings in baseball.
So they go to Denver, and what happens is they win, Scoop. They end up winning because, first, I'm sorry, they show up in Denver, and the coach is like, well, thanks for showing up. Well, first of all, where are you from? Well, we're from South Park. Crazy where they have people living now these days. Well, thanks for coming up. We'll try not to go too hard. We're already looking forward to DC. So they get on the court and they basically hype up Pip, and Pip destroys this team.
Yep.
And they win.
Yep.
They're going to nationals to take on the other team in Washington, D.C. However, we're just going to go ahead and kind of go over the dodgeball aspect of the storylines here. They jump over to D.C., right? After they get there, and the other team forfeits. And when the other team forfeits, like, yeah, we forfeited because haven't you heard? In China, all they do is train year round, one by one, play dodgeball, and like they cut over to scenes of like these Chinese South Park characters, like just like practicing with like 1,000-pound barbell balls and like throwing them at like bricks and shit. Like, you know,
So
they're being
funny.
it's like internment camp for like dodgeball training, which is, you know, kind of a slight, I'd say, at China, in which they feel that China takes things way too seriously, even in sports, right? That they have to try and be number one, even to the point of like people are brainwashed to play dodgeball like it's their life.
Yep.
And I think this is a good point to bring up, Scoop, that we'll never be able to go to China. So
I wouldn't want to. For one, I don't like China. I'm not racist against Chinese.
well, I kind of want to check out the Great Wall of China sometime in my life. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean,
It's like a wonder of the world, bro.
you know,
Mongolians, tear down that wall.
dude,
God damn you, Mongolians!
Goddamn Mongolians, stay away from my city wall!
I try taking down my wall. Yeah, no, I have wanted to check that out. But the reason why I say we're not allowed or will never be allowed in China is the fact that South Park is banned in China now based upon the last season.
Fucking pussies.
So, and here's a good shot at them early on. So if they're going to ban South Park, that means they're probably going to ban anybody who enjoys South Park, anybody affiliates themselves with South Park. And while we're not, of course, affiliated in any way whatsoever, and any images, likeness, or audio used in the makings of these podcasts or YouTube are strictly for comedic news purpose and analyzation purposes, which is covered under the fair use policy of Copyright 7, then we're probably going to not be able to come into the country. They're going to be like, fuck these guys. They do a South Park podcast where all they do is talk about South Park, and they're going to laugh at us. Anyway, so they go to China. When they go to China, they took the bus. You know, they've got all these interactions.
He took the fucking bus.
They've got all these interactions with the bus driver, too, because she's not taking shit from these kids and Chef the whole bus ride there. She'll be like, sit down and shut up. And they'll be like, I am not. And Chef's like, I am not a student. You can't talk to me like that. Sit down. Oh, yes, ma'am. Chef is obsessed so much to the point that he just wants to win, right? He wants to become national champions. He wants to cement his legacy or create a foundation for South Park sports and the town itself, to that way they can get rid of this idiocracy image that's perpetrated to the rest of the world. You know, that South Park is just a bumpkin ass town. This will put South Park on the map, as he says, realistically. Well, they're in China now. The Chinese are ready. You know, the announcers are making fun of the kids, which I thought was a highlight for this episode. Because you got the announcers like, one of my favorite lines in this episode is like, here's my impression of doing American. I'll use my credit card.
Hey, you want to hear my impersonation of American? Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I really, really want that. That looks good.
Hey, let me try.
I'll use my credit card. do you have any non-dairy creamer?
Yeah! Y'all coming back now, here?
Or the other one. If I just use my capital gains and interest, I can fix my 401k. But then, like, as they're playing, like he says, like the line, like I haven't seen that after Kenny dies. He says, I haven't seen an American die like that. That's Abraham Lincoln. And one of the Chinese guys says, dude, you can't say that. You're gonna get us in trouble again. And that was a reference to the Big Gay Al episode, which you can go back and review and listen to on our South Park feed. Ian, you're awfully quiet over there.
I'm reading about the conjoined twins, and yeah, you're definitely right. My dyslexia is not aware.
I told you.
I controlled, I copied conjoined twin dyslexia and I put it in. But now it's bringing up this whole story about this little Nigerian girl or African girl who one of them was dying, or is like I don't know. It's
Go ahead.
pretty
one of
new.
them-
Like this is really it's about the doctors are trying to take the decision out of the father's hands because if they remove one of the little girls, she definitely dies, but the other one has more of a chance to survive. But if they leave them together, they both die. Like there's no survival. Like
Wow, that's
both
crazy.
of them die. Yeah.
But it's not called my dyslexia.
Nope.
No. Yeah. Like I said, I
But
looked it up. I wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't bring it up. Like if it
I just
wasn't-
wanted to conjoin twin, but I didn't mean the my dyslexia got in there. That's funny. It was like, did you mean conjoined twins?
So they're in China now, and interestingly enough, we get to see in this episode Leopold Swanson. Do you know who that is?
Leopold Swanson. No.
Leopold Swanson appeared in the early episodes of South Park. He eventually became a fixture,
Oh, right.
a staple in the South Park universe.
That's,
You may know him by Leopold Stotch,
that's right.
aka Butters. So they called him Swanson in these early episodes. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So that was
Stotch.
Stotch.
So maybe.
Don't buy your son, Stotch. Don't.
What if Butters' mom married Stotch, became Stotch, so now Butters is Stotch. So he was Leopold Swanson because his mom got divorced, but then she married Stotch. Now Stotch.
Maybe that's why he's an
Is this
asshole.
Detective Butters?
Maybe that's why he's an asshole, because he's a stepfather and this is her second husband, so she doesn't want him to leave, so she's just like, I'll do whatever he says.
Right, and there's like so many crazy episodes. Okay, we're gonna have to like remember to.
I think we're gonna have to do a special investigation, a special investigation Butters episode, and go through Butters'
Inspect the Butters.
backstory. That's a good episode idea. Where we could do that too. That's a good idea for additional episodes where we just do full on character perspectives. Where we just do one full
episodes.
right. We just do one full episode where we analyze a character.
Yeah.
We analyze their timeline.
Yeah.
There's a lot more we can do with Sack My Vows.
Yeah.
Well, they're in China as we're getting to this part of storyline B with the Chinese dodgeball game. They eventually Chef comes to the conclusion that he was being an asshole, using the kids to win, try and win a championship title, and basically decides he doesn't care anymore. Well, it's at this point the other kid in the classroom who happens to be Chinese, however, he was born in America and his parents are from China, which like they were making fun of him. And then Chef's like, wait a second, boys, you don't make fun of people from being from America and being Chinese. You make fun of Chinese people from being from China. Basically what he was saying is you don't make fun of people from being, or you don't make fun of people because of their race and their culture and their religion. You make fun of them for being from a specific country. That's what he says is on the table. So
Hey, children, that's not cool. You don't make fun of somebody because of their ethnicity.
You don't? But Chef, you just ripped on Chinese people.
No, that's different. I made fun of them because they are from China. You see, it's not okay to make fun of an American because they're black, brown, or whatever, but it is okay to make fun of foreigners because they're from another country.
Yeah.
we're allowed to make fun of China as a whole, which is Donald Trump's theory, right? China. Or we're allowed the Wuhan virus. Look, the China virus. It's just out there. People the day.
Trump don't trust China. China asshole.
Fuck them all to death. We're gonna make this country great again.
Fuck them all today. Let's go. Woo!
Fuck them all to death. So there's some resolve here as Chef decides to not care about this dodgeball game anymore. Well, the Chinese kid or Chinese American kid gave the list of things to say to piss off Pip, And he basically gets called everything from being a Frenchie and a pussy and gets pissed off to the point where he single-handedly defeats the Chinese team. South Park becomes national champs. Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cared. Because at that point, everybody was just happy to get the fuck out of China. But it's kind of shitty and kind of funny because obviously we don't like Pip. Because you're just like, ha 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 ha, Pip. You get screwed again. But kind of shitty because you're also like, well, they at least should have been national champions. Like, you know, issues. And they kind of did celebrate it here at the conclusion when everything kind of smish-moshes together. So let's go back to storyline A now. Here's what's going on with Sheila. Sheila decides to go ahead and get a conjoined fetus committee together, and they decide, or basically first she invites over the nurse and the mayor and everybody over to have a dinner at her house. They have this very awkward dinner and shit where like Gerald is all like, can you pass me the dead fetus?
Gerald! Yeah, I think they can really win this year. They've got the dead fetus to do it. Gerald!
He just
can you pass the potatoes? Okay.
And like Mr. Ragged the whole time is just trying to eat. Can you pass me some more pork, please? Like he's only there for the food. He's only there for the food, dog. That would be me 100% being at like one of those meetings from a school meeting.
Same.
Like, is there gonna be food?
There'll be food? Dude, I'm there. I'm there.
I'm getting hungry.
I skipped breakfast there. I'm hungry.
Make some chicken right now, bro. Hey, is it weird to have chicken, like chicken breasts and eggs? That's chicken. Chicken.
I don't see the problem there.
No? All right. Because I've had that a couple times where I've had like.
Good?
It's pretty good. Like I had some chicken with some like fried chicken eggs, and then you crack that oak over the chicken.
Oh, you had me at you lost me at fried. I don't do fried.
Or you can have scrambled. Why don't you do fried?
Dude, fried food is bad for you, bro.
A little just pan
Pan fried?
Yeah,
what do you mean fried? Do you like fry it in oil or something?
No, I just crack I take a little pan in the pan, then I crack an egg in it, fries up, sunny side up, egg, boom.
Oh, well, that's not frying an egg.
I'm not like actually saying drop it into a fryer.
I'll eat eggs all day, bro. I'll eat like 8 or 9.
I eat eggs all day, bro. You see my body? I'm like 3% body fat.
Right, let's get back to this show. So they, as we mentioned, they win the national championship, but Sheila is now decided that they're going to put a whole 1 week conjoined twin dyslexia week awareness for the whole town, where everybody now has to celebrate. It starts off with the parade. While this parade's going on, this is when they first win the national or the state championship. And they're like, it's just her. She's like walking through the street. Da, 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 da. And they're like, let's give it up to the parade organizers. And there was like 8 people there for this whole parade organization when it was just her walking down the street, waving to people. Kind of fucked up. Kind of putting her in a position where she's just the center of attention, where she really probably didn't want to be the center of attention. Yeah. But unfortunately, the public is swayed in a different way, right? Not everyone knows that. So like there's going to be an overall like feeling of like discontent or like anger, frustration at the end of this and how she reacts. Because after they have that, then they have a banquet, right? There's a banquet that's like my conjoined twin dyslexia.
You've got the strength, you've got the courage, even with a dead fetus on your head. You carry on, you fight for tomorrow. A dead fetus will know you never let go. You're my conjoined twin, dead thing hanging off your head, woman.
Oh, that was so touching.
And they're like playing like this award show where they're like gonna give her a trophy for being the conjoined twin dyslexia of the year or decade or whatever it is. And the trophy has got a little fetus on it too. I don't know if you noticed it.
So stupid.
So she wins. She gives a heartfelt speech that basically says, I never wanted to win this. You know what I mean? I never wanted to have this much attention. And, I just wanted to be treated the same. And then at the end, they're like wrapping up the celebration. And they're like, now the boys are back from the national championship victory and everyone's wearing their little hats. And then like, they're all like, dude, what's up with all these people?
Yeah, what's with all these hats?
Like, what's up with all these people wearing these hats, dude? And all of a sudden, the nurse pops about, and the boys are all like, "Oh, dude, sick, weird." She was like, "Boys, we've been working all week to try and desensitize." Well, sorry, dude, we weren't even here. Like, so the whole point of what they were doing doesn't even fucking matter because the boys weren't even there to try and have a change in heart.
Right? Like, that's why I thought that part was so stupid.
So that
because
that's the part we disliked. Go ahead.
You have the boys in China, and then you have all this nonsense at home to try and spread awareness and everything, mainly because of the kids. And it's like the kids aren't even there, so it's just stupid.
That was the first part I didn't like. And then the second part here, of course, the nurse explains to everybody, take those stupid things off your head. I literally never wanted all this attention. I just wanted to be treated equal like everybody. But you guys all decided to blow this out of proportion. And they're all like, oh, what a bitch. So they blame it on her after like they basically did something that she didn't even want to be a part of.
Right. But then again, there are so many people out there that would love that kind of attention.
There are.
Like, oh, you're going to throw a parade just for me? Oh, shit.
Yeah, but in this case, you should at least ask. You shouldn't just take advantage of people.
That's true. There we go. It's good.
And implement your own moral sense of justice that you feel like someone's being victimized, or in her case, Sheila has been victimized somewhere in her life. So at any opportunity, she can help fight for the little guy or gal or someone she believes is being taken advantage of. She's gonna do it and fight for it. I'm gonna fight for it. I'm gonna fight for it, Gerald. So that's how I look at Sheila. So anyway, the boys eventually, they don't really have any more impact on this episode. As after the week of festivities, the parade is held for the nurse Gollum to give a speech. She finally snaps, as we mentioned, and she storms off, much to their annoyance. And that's basically how the episode ends. Right? Am I missing anything?
Yep. Nope. In my opinion, one of the worst endings.
It was kind of an anticlimactic type ending. I mean, Kenny had already died. There was nothing that really happened. It was just like, oh, what a bitch. And it just ends. There wasn't even really like, I learned something here today, or people need to be treated equal. It just ends.
Yeah, it was a bad ending.
Weirdly enough, there wasn't a lot of public reception of this episode. I couldn't find anything. Could you find anything really, like on articles covering it, or?
No, it was just one of those under the radar ones, I suppose.
So some of course, the underlying tones we did mention throughout that people with physical or mental disabilities don't need sheltering or protecting just because they're different. Now, not to say that go out and be a fucking asshole, but like if they're your friends or family, like if they can do normal things with you, or if they're out and about or having conversation with you, don't need to treat them any differently than how you would treat your friend. Like I've had friends who are in wheelchairs and I fucking rag them all the time. I treat them like you. They'd be like, oh, nah, dude, I'm sorry, you can't. You need a booster seat. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I had one buddy that'd be like, yo, you want to run to this? Oh, wait, that's right. You want to wheel to the store? Nothing horrible. And then when X-Men came out, I'd be like, oh, Wheels. What's up,
bro,
Wheels?
Hey, bro, we're going to go down the hill. Can I get a ride?
Call it Wheels.
Yeah, exactly. You just treat your friends how they want to be treated. Now, I wouldn't do that to everybody. That's after having a relationship.
Developing a relationship, interpersonal, and becoming friends.
But then they rag on you for other things too. So that's how you get them back. You're like, wait a minute, motherfucker. All right, well, if you're going to rag on me, we're going to be friends, and I'm going to get you back too. So, of course, it's all love. So that was basically, protecting them. And Nurse Gollum kind of gives that, the reason you kind of suck speech towards the townspeople is even more awesome when you consider the fact that it's, truth in the television, Does it ever occur to any of you that I didn't want to be singled out? So B story, of course, we talked about the obsession is never really good, especially when it comes to coaching And I think a lot of people are obsessed when it comes to children's sports, whether with their kids, nephews, uncles, aunts. You know what I mean? It gets to be ridiculous where they're trying to vicariously live through these kids. So
Could be rough.
they're trying to, like, implement them some sort of instilled values of needing to win everything, and they'll be egregious in showing at the activity itself, whether getting in front of other parents' faces, fighting with refs, yelling. And realistically, it's just about kids playing football, kids playing basketball, kids playing a sport. You know what I mean? So,
never really liked those types of parents, man. They were intense, and those kids are never quite the same and quite right.
No. Also, of course, according to Chef, it's not okay to make fun of someone for their race, but it's okay to make fun of someone for being from another country. So we talked about that. That's kind of interesting. All right, here's some of the top moments that we liked. And Ian made them all really pretty here. Let's see here. You said this episode really builds a love-hate relationship with Sheila, the irrational, uncompromising will to protest anything.
Well, Mrs. Brzezowski, it certainly is a thrill seeing your cheery face again. What seems to be pissing you off today? Nothing is pissing me off. I just want to start a movement. Yeah, of course you do.
Principal. Oh, that's right. When she walks into the principal's office.
Yeah, what are you pissed off about today? Oh, nothing, but it's,
That's a good call out.
What are you pissed off about today, Sheila?
Right. My thing that I liked was there's a picture of Ike in a bathtub, blown up, hanging over the couch in Kyle's house. It was fucking hilarious. It's all big. He's in the tub. There's like a little ball he's playing with, and he's looking at the camera directly as he's got a picture of him taken. I was just like, why would you take a picture of Ike in the tub and then blow it up like that? Like my mom has a picture of me, like probably like, like not naked, but in a diaper inside of like a pail or something like that when I was a baby. But it's not big. It's just like a nice 8x10 you have on the shelf. Like, it's not huge, like a huge painting. Like, it was ridiculous. You put Stan's mom calling Sheila about Stan trying to split open his head with an ice pick, and Sheila just completely ignoring her and resolving that she has to inform everyone of this disease that the whole episode is based upon. We talked about that already, of course. That conjoined fin dyslexia lady. I put that I liked that Pip got what was coming to him in the end. No one really cared about that he won the championship. Fuck Pip. Next thing you wrote was anytime to rip on China. Of course, we mentioned the fact that we're not ever going to be invited to China ever, which is a bit of a downer. I wanted to see the Great Wall of China. Great Wall of China. How about China?
We can see it from space. It's okay.
Yeah. Fourth, the last one you put was Chinese guys ripping on America while they're playing Oh My, I Haven't Seen America. Oh My, I haven't seen America die like that since Abraham Lincoln.
Dude, chill. You can't talk like that.
Dude, not funny.
You're going to get us in trouble.
And that, of course, was a callback to Big Gay Al's boat ride episode, where Kyle was getting killed as the quarterback. Some of the things I noticed, Cartman doesn't know who Captain Ahab is, or at least the reference and how it applies. Because like he
talks about him.
Right, he's like, so Captain Ahab has to get his boy Will, huh? Yeah.
Like, you don't know who he is, but you know he's about after a white whale. Okay.
As we already mentioned, Stan trying to open his head with the ice pickaxe, which was funny. That fake Neil Diamond song that plays over the increasingly photo tribute, like when they're during the awards show. But the one I've been kind of singing or whatever, Conjoined Fetus Lady woman. And then also there's the chef celebrating after they sing. He's like singing a victory dance.
Yo, whales.
Oh, sorry about whooping your ass there, coach. Ooh, baby, come on. Just whoop Denver's ass. You're gonna need some cream for your ass. It's all swollen and red.
Gonna need some cream on your ass.
Just whooped that ass.
So yeah, that was that episode. Our top disliked moments. I put Butter being called Swanson. I didn't know, but maybe we kind of got to the bottom of that as we talked about it. Maybe his mom remarried. I put Dodgeball in general. I don't really like Dodgeball. Stupid game. I also mentioned that people viewing Dodgeball as a form of ritual torture that grown-ups use to amuse themselves at the expense of the young. It makes a handy metaphor for the general practice of admitting to themselves that they're not as good when it comes to sports anymore, and they're living vicariously, sometimes to the point of psychotic dementia, and through children who just want to have fun playing. So to really drive it the point home, it's of course Chef in this episode, who is normally the protector, the purveyor, and the voice of reason, who kind of loses his bearings while looking to become a successful coach. So I didn't really like that. I didn't like that Chef was that guy in this episode, to be honest. But then, of course, we mentioned some other things we didn't like. Chef's obsession with winning, Dodgeball, Sheila, the festival. Here we go. Big question. Is this in Scoop's top 20?
Not in Scoop's top 100.
Not in Scoop's 100.
Let me take that back. Okay, it's in Scoop's top 100.
What? Don't pussy out now.
All right, no, yeah, it's not in my 100. Okay, no, I'll pussy out. I'll stick by it.
If it's not your 100, it's not your 100. I would say that this episode is not in my 100 either. It's a funny episode. It's not a bad episode by any means. But when you think about the context of like top highlighted episodes or episodes that really make a mark as a whole in the series, this one does not do that. So I would agree with you. It is not in the top 100. And therefore, this episode can suck my balls. Soup.
You can suck my balls? Well, you can just suck my balls.
So that'll do it, guys. That's it for we're done. Another episode, Skeep. Check my balls right here on hackerhowmean.podbean.com. Of course, I'm your host, most lives on the West Coast, your boy, Matthew Schaffer. Ian, tell these beardos, people who like Honey Nut Cheerios, how they can argue with you online.
Hit us up on our podcast at Suck My Balls Pod at Twitter. If you want to play Magic, you want to argue, want to talk fitness, anything you want, find me there. Let's go. It's gonna happen, Captain.
That's right. You can find him there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not me, it's Ian. So say it's him. Next episode, the Mexican staring frog.
Mexican staring frog of Sri Lanka.
That's right. That's our next episode, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to follow along and enjoy the next episode's review, you can watch that one and get caught up. Of course, we've already recorded this episode. We recorded way ahead this time. We did a good job this week, dude. Getting on it. Record this episode ahead, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So you can go back and listen to any of our episodes, as we mentioned, on hackerhowmean.podbean.com or ratsaladreview.com, or just look up Suck My Balls on any outlet. Apple, Spotify, Google, Android, Breaker, Europe, New Zealand, Irish, Australia, Norway, Canadian, Brazilian, Argentina. We're on video, but that's okay. You do what you got to do, Scoop. I'm Matthew Schaffer here as Scoop, not giving a fuck as we go off the air. Suck my balls.
0 fucks a given, baby. Suck my balls.
En jong var elvis juletid.